hey, I don't think you're going to kill me early, and go ahead and try because I can just TP back into lane. So definitely almost BM even pick there. But love the attitude with that teleport.
Yeah, and this also comes down to the responsibility of Hecarim. Ven Oreo here, he has to play around the middle lane because Orianna is a vulnerable champion in the early game, especially to the combined threat of Udyr Zed, right? So I want to see him hovering around the mid lane a little bit in the early game after his initial clear. I want to see him placing some wards on one side of the river so that his Orianna can hover to that side, play a little bit safer that way, is less susceptible to ganks because as we highlighted earlier, the top lane, the Nocturne, is not so easy to gank. So he doesn't need as much support. Similarly, in the bot lane, I think both teams are likely going to be just farming it out. I mean, that's kind of what happens with enchanters. It's just a war of attrition while you're farming. So Vent Oreo here, a lot to do in the early game to make sure that this Udyr Zed combo doesn't just run wild.
Yep, and that early ward from Zed is going to let Udyr know that AMO is starting in the bot jungle, same as Udyr, so he's going to have a safe top jungle to rotate up to. Not going to have to worry about any sort of initiation or counter jungling. And just taking a quick look at the buys here, everything pretty standard. Orianna opting for the Corrupting Potion instead of a Doran's Ring. I think that just goes for the early game survivability that we were talking about. Don't want to get blown up by Zed early at all, as well as Nocturne with the Doran Shield. I think he can go Doran's Blade in this matchup, but the Doran Shield obviously good for defending against those auto attacks and the early poke from Kennen before Nocturne's able to cover a little bit more ground.
Yeah, and I don't mind the shield too much out of the Nocturne, right? It helps him survive this lane a little bit more. I mean, levels 1 to 4 is when it's going to be toughest because that's when the Kennen is really going to be putting out those auto attacks. So a little bit of sustain is always helpful there. Although on the other side, with the Orianna, I would have liked to see a Doran's Ring. You know, be a little bit greedy if you're going to go for this teleport, but that is a quality trade in the bot lane. Like I was saying, Seraphine is just an absolute menace on the Rift. Don't let that pink hair fool you. She is a freak at poking you down in the lane.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe the damage. Now Lulu down to 2/3 HP, having to use one of her pots. I mean, thankfully was able to take it, and Jim with the 4-shot, forcing out a heal from Twitch, and oh my goodness, Lulu almost going down there. Jin having to flash forward for that, but a very, very close trade in the bot lane.
That is aggressive. Overall, I think JYC come out on top just due to the fact that it's the attack damage carry flash in exchange for your for the heal on your support, actually, because Twitch has exhaust instead of heal.
Oh, so, pardon me.
Overall, it's looking like a pretty good trade on the side of JYC, although I do love the aggression. Punish in the early game, you know, he saw his window and he took it, and that's the kind of energy.
4 players towards the top lane now. A nice spell shield for Nocturne to be able to get rid of that stun, and now trying to chase Udyr down. He's completely feared. Nocturne at low HP, having to flash away the reflash by Udyr, able to pick up the kill now. Udyr pretty low. Let's see if Hecarim can 1v2 here. He needs to get that Udyr down, getting stunned to flash away from Udyr. Now Kennen able to pick up the double kill in the top lane, and that's going to be JYC going up 2-0 by some great jungling from Udyr.
Oh, it was so close, too. I mean, if Hecarim pops his ghost there right at the start of the engagement, it means he can get his devastating charge, his E off early, and that is going to put down a lot of damage and CC on the Udyr, which means they can maybe finish him early and then look to trade it out as a 2-for-1 in their favor. But instead, his devastating charge runs out just as he gets to the action, and that means that he's unable to really effectively trade there. I mean, so much of the Hecarim's early damage comes from the devastating charge, but here he goes
now
again.
Hecarim re-engaging into the Udyr. Udyr opting not to use the blast plan. I think he saw that Zed was rotating down, didn't want to go down 0-2 and 0-2 early, and now Zed initiating onto this Orianna has a lot of melee attack damage on it, but Hecarim rotating up. Zed no longer has a W up. He might have to flash out of this, and indeed he does, to go back to safety, and almost getting caught out there when trying to re-engage on Udyr. Now Hecarim back into the jungle. This horse is just going all around, but 2 levels down and healing up from that scuttle. You do not want to fight Udyr.
Yeah, absolutely not. A really greedy trade attempt there out of Zed, but a fight in the bot lane.
I think both players are just going to try to back off there, as Jin had a little bit of an advantage there, and the Ignite, is that going to be enough to take down Orianna? Indeed it is. Zed with the first kill on the Orianna, and that's going to make mid lane a lot more difficult than it was a few minutes ago.
Wow, and I was just saying how greedy of a trade it was on the Zed's part because he knew the Hecarim was there, but I guess he had the vision. I mean, getting the Orianna a little bit chunked out so he could go for the all-in there with his Ignite. No defensive summoner spell on that Orianna, so she is a sitting duck, but she'll teleport back to the mid lane here, collect that little bit of farm, and hopefully going to be able to, survive now in this laning phase, picks up the cloth armor. So I do like that, a little bit of a resistance to avoid that one-shot potential.
Yeah, she's going to need that too. Probably going to be a first item. Zonya's coming out from Orianna. She needs all the survivability that she can get. And I mean, I hate to say it, but who knows, if you took barrier instead of teleport, maybe you would have survived that.
Yeah, and it's tough too, right? Because you want to stay in the lane, you want to get farmed up, you want to make sure that you can have an impact at the strong point for your champion, but you got to get there, right? And without any sort of defensive summoner spell, I mean, it is a struggle. Maybe he should be taking some notes from the bottom lane of JYC here. I'd love to talk about this exhaust heal combination. They just decided, you know what? We don't even want an Ignite for the healing on Seraphine. We would rather have an exhaust on Twitch. Maybe he's worried about that Nocturne diving him in the late game. And instead of taking an Ignite or something, the Lulu has heal.
Yeah, very interesting on the Lulu. You don't often see that. Not only now does she have a lot of shields in her kit, she also has healing and movement speed. So continuing to play that support role to its maximum. And now an ult advantage in the top lane.
Yeah, and I'm actually quite surprised here. Look at the farm difference in top lane. I mean, this Nocturne is up 15 CS, just above that, actually, over the Kennen, which is quite surprising. I mean, he got first blooded up there in the top lane after that little scuffle in the 2v2. So,
now going on to Orianna in the mid lane. Ulti coming out from Zed. A nice ultimate from Orianna to delay some of that CC. And is that extra auto attack going to do it? Not enough. And good job by Orianna there to be able to stay alive, using that ultimate to be able to make sure Udyr doesn't get an extra auto attack off on her.
Absolutely, juking out the shurikens too, right? That's where so much of Zed's damage comes from in the early game, is landing that double shuriken, and not a single one landed. So that means the death mark, his ultimate, doesn't really get that big explosion, that last one shot, the omae wa mo shinderu, and then you pop.
Okay.
Instead, he, is just going to survive no problem because he doesn't land a single shuriken, and there's no damage to amplify that finisher.
No, and so. Yeah, good dodging. A lot of micro from Orianna, getting a little bit of praise from our previous insults, bringing it back.
Absolutely.
Nice W onto the Lulu and bot lane, but they might be getting baited in here as Udyr. They don't know that she's in the lane and able to get the stun off on Seraphine, and so much damage coming out from Twitch, able to get the kill. Good job by Udyr there to be able to bait them in to that brush in the bottom lane, and Twitch able to get the gold.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that AMO continued to push there. I mean, they saw the Lulu casting her, I believe it's called Whimsy, her W there onto the Udyr because the shield and movement speed did not pop up on the Jhin or herself. That means it went on to someone else, that being the Udyr, but it looks like the side of AMO did not notice, so instead, Pakyu is going to be punished, take a death there, but it's not a huge deal for their bot lane. I mean, the dragon isn't taken by JYC, which is usually the push that you look for there. They don't get a turret played out of it. The Jhin is still there to collect the wave, so it's a nice 300 gold pickup, but it's nothing devastating to this bot lane.
Yeah, Jin's definitely still in the game. Pretty even in CS. 000 hasn't gone down a death yet, so definitely not an over game yet. Udyr with the counter jungle coming in. Nocturne ultimate going to support his jungler with Hecarim. Hecarim ultimate coming too as well, and now he's been feared for about 15 seconds, and Udyr somehow still alive, able to come out with the blast plan, and now flashing and ulting forward is Kennen, getting a lot of damage and the stun onto the Nocturne. Udyr re-engaging a nice spell shield to be able to knock it, stunned there by the Udyr. Now trying to auto attack, not going to be able to take down the Kennen. Zed coming in, and again highlighting that spell shield by Nocturne. Great timing there to not get killed by the Udyr, and able to pick up one if Zed didn't rotate up, likely two.
Oh, I thought it was completely over after the Nocturne wasn't able to flash over that wall there. A bit of a misplay at the start, but it turns out awesome for him, as you say, just completely outplaying the Udyr there, but a fight in the bot lane.
Oh my gosh, and look at the damage coming up from Twitch. Able to, so close to getting a double kill. If he's able to step forward and get that E, it would have been. And I think Jhin got like 3 auto attacks off on Twitch, and he was just still at full HP because of all of the shielding from Lulu there.
Yeah, and he combined it with the exhaust too, right? And that's a big part, is slowing down those Jhin auto attacks so he can't cycle to that 4-shot execute. That's a great thing to do. And similarly, the Seraphine still has her exhaust up, not using it in that fight. But that is just a dream situation for Twitch there. 2 people stacked on each other. They land the chain slows with the Lulu Q plus the Twitch W, that flask. And the slow stacked up with his spray and pray is just lethal. He just executes the Seraphine there. Jhin gets out with a sliver of health, and they're able to get some turret plates and wave denial as a result, giving them a big gold lead now in that bottom lane.
And it looks like Udyr is doing Rift right now. I think he knows Hecarim's in the bot lane. He's had a good idea of where Hecarim has been all game. And so, yeah. I believe he's picking up that Rift as bot lane resets, and we just see some trades out here in the mid.
Yeah, and things about playing out how we expected, right? The junglers, there was that little 2v2 kerfuffle in the early game in that top side, but other than that, it's been a pretty isolated lane. Mid lane has been seeing some influence from Udyr. Remember, think back to that tower dive there attempt that they tried on the Orianna, but didn't pan out for them. But really, the story of this game has been the 2 versus 2 in the bottom lane. There was some jungle influence with that Udyr, but ultimately, that 2 versus 2 kill from Twitch was just spectacular.
Yeah, and you're seeing it reflected in the gold there. One of the only 2 players in the game with a bounty, up 18 CS now and 2 kills. That's going to be a very, very scary Twitch unless Nocturne's going to be able to jump on him in the late game. And look at all this damage coming out from Kennen. He's still at full HP and got Nocturne down to half and Wing forward and getting the Ignite into the ultimate, ulting himself out of Orianna's ultimate, Wing back, but Hecarim likely going to pick up this kill. Zed so low, and Zed, just getting ulted there finally by Hecarim, getting taken down and almost got out with his life. A good ultimate by Zed to be able to avoid the ultimate of Orianna, but ending up dying there to the Hecarim.
Yeah, I that was just clinical out of Zed there. That was gorgeous. Slurp really popping off, showing that that is one of his main champions that wasn't banned out, right? I mean, he was looking good there, dodging everything that the Orianna threw at him, landing all of his shurikens in the lot. This is an aggressive trade here. I like that out of the Udyr. It's not going to result in too much other than a chunk, but I mean, you love to see it.
Oh, yeah. Udyr was tanking tower shots too while he was doing that, and he's not done harassing that horse as he continues to chase him away towards his tower. Your jungle? No, it is my jungle, says Udyr, and he still has that Rift in his hand. Maybe looking towards to set up towards Dragon, dropping that Rift in a lane and making AMO choose between losing a tower or losing first Drake. 12 minutes in, though, still not a first Drake.
Yeah, it's quite surprising, too, considering the amount of pressure that JYC's bottom lane has here. I think what we're going to see here soon is Udyr take his buffs, his bottom side jungle, and then come bottom with the Rift, but here's a fight.
Oh, and the ultimate coming out from Seraphine to make sure that Twitch can't continue to put on damage, but he does. And look at how much damage Seraphine took. If that was early game, that passive would have ticked down and killed her.
Oh, and trading out the heal for the Jhin for the ultimate out of the Lulu. I actually quite enjoy that trade out of the side of AMO, opting to use his heal to go for the 4-shot on Lulu. I think without the Lulu ultimate here, they're a lot less vulnerable to dives, but here's the Jhin ult throwing down the shots as his team converges from the river, but it looks like it's not going to result in anything.
Now Zed rotating down, gets caught in the Orianna ulti, and in with the CC from Hecarim. Zed is just so good at getting out of these situations. I cannot believe he didn't die there. Now Hecarim dying for it as well, just flashing his mastery, and now Jhin getting caught out by the Kennen stun and letting that kill go onto Udyr, and now still with the Rift Herald, likely going to drop it towards the bot lane. Indeed he does, and then going for drag. A great series of kills, macro play, and now into a dragon from JYC.
Yeah, and you know what? It's because that Orianna is itemizing so defensively. That Shockwave is just tickling the Zed, right? Look at Orianna's items, having the Seeker's Arm Guard plus plated steel caps. That is full-on armor. It's a tank Orianna in the mid lane. And because he's itemizing so much for that armor, so much to avoid the 1v1, when it comes to the team fight skirmish, he's not really doing anything, right? He's not putting out that carry threat damage that you would expect from an Orianna. That Shockwave is just tickling. At least Nocturne is getting some plates here on the top side to make up for this massive trade going in the favor of JYC on the bot side. But, I mean, it's looking a little bit bleak here now. We got to hope the Seraphine scales like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, those plates contributing 200 gold apiece, but not much when compared to the total gold deficit in this game right now. KYC, 14 minutes into the game, up 4.5k gold as a total, with the gold being on the right players. A 3-0-1 most CS in the game ADC, a 2-0-2 hyper AP carry in the top lane, and Zed with already his first item.
Yeah, and a lot of the mythics are coming through on the side of JYC, right? As the Twitch rotates here to the top lane, this is a pretty standard play that you see from attack damage carries. If you get the bottom tower really early in the game, you just immediately base and rotate your bot lane players to the top side so that they can hopefully take a 2v1 and just grab the turret pretty effortlessly. It's just a way to rotate the strength around the map and kind of share your power to other portions of the map, you know, pick up a little bit of extra gold for your team. They don't get the tower on that push, but you can see how chipped out it is. And now this Nocturne is going to have to call for help, and you can see that Hecarim and Seraphine are starting the path up.
Yeah, Lulu with a nice ward there. I know in the top lane, Nocturne was just thirsting for an ultimate onto that Twitch, but you can't really with the Lulu right on you. I mean, even if you spell shield the polymorph, the shielding and the slows that are going to come out from the Qs, a 1-2-0 Nocturne is not going to be able to 2v1 a Twitch and Lulu at this point in the game.
Especially not with the items that they have, right? Lulu going here for the oh my goodness, I forget this item's name now. It's been way too long. The not the Moonstone though, the Ardent Sensor.
Yes, that's it.
Instead. This used to be a huge meta item back in about a season or two ago in the bottom lane.
And Nocturne might be getting caught out here. It's taking a lot of auto attack damage from Twitch, and look at that ultimate coming in and flashing forward for the kill. Twitch diving under the tower to be able to get a kill onto Nocturne.
And that's the power of that first mythic item, right? He is stacked up. He's ready to brawl. He's getting that true damage on every third auto attack. Combine that with the execute on Expunge. He is a threat on the map. You cannot disrespect him. He is going to sneak up on you and one-shot you.
And Udyr wants this blue buff, and what he wants, he has at this point of the game. Just running in, ignoring all the damage from two players. When he's 3 and 2 levels up, he can run down anybody he pleases. And right now, that choice is going to be Hecarim as he continues to go in on a Seraphine ultimate, getting comboed with the Hecarim ultimate, and going through the Jin Force shots coming. Twitch getting ultimate by Lulu, able to put out a lot of damage there. Lulu getting 2 kills, actually, in that exchange. Not what you want to see for in terms of gold distribution, but they'll take it. Twitch now cleaning up, and that's going to be 4 kills for the side of KYC as they continue to dominate this game.
Yeah, and that's that Twitch stealth bomber that I was talking about, you know, coming in from the fog of war, invisible. His Lulu's behind him, so he has that support, but you don't know it. He just appears suddenly in front of you and starts blasting you, right? And it was a really nice ultimate combo out of the side of AMO. They combined the Seraphine with the Hecarim very well, but the Jin shots were targeted towards the Udyr, so they weren't actually able to threaten the execute onto that Twitch. I mean, if he gets that 4 shot when Twitch is on low health, it has a max % health execute. He could realistically get that kill, but instead they're able to get out scot-free. And now look at the size of this Twitch. I mean, he's 5-0-2. He has a 550 gold bounty. This guy is a nightmare if you are in this game.
Yeah, and the Kraken Slayer, just to top it all off, in case he does get you to 5% HP, it's actually going to be 0% HP this time around, and now getting the W from the Q into the mid lane. Twitch is outputting so much damage, he's actually able to tower dive here, getting the E off, putting Orion on next to no HP, and allowing the push to continue into the mid lane.
Okay, so Twitch has no ultimate right now. He has no flash. If there's ever been an opportunity, this is going to be it. Noise, I think what he should do is look for the teleport back home, come to the mid lane, and look to execute someone. If you have your ultimates up here and Twitch has no flash, he has no ultimate, you do have a shot at winning a team fight. You'll have to play it well. You'll have to kind of outmaneuver them, but there is that possibility. But instead, they're going to look for the safe reset here, not wanting to throw anything into the fray too aggressively. But I think there was a window there, even if it was slim.
Yeah, the Twitch are definitely a little bit more vulnerable now, more than ever. And now both teams resetting, trying to go for this next dragon that'll be up in 30 seconds. It's going to be a Mountain Drake, and the next one after that will determine the soul.
Yeah, and Udyr has this Rift Herald again, right? He's secured that second Rift Herald. I'm sort of curious where he elects to drop this. Typically, in the mid to late game, the Rift Herald will be used in the mid lane. The turrets are just much harder to crack than on the side lanes because you can't really push and pull people around the map. It's very easy to get to the mid lane from anywhere on the map. So I'm hoping that we see it used to break open this tier 2 mid tower. But instead, it looks like they're positioning around the bot side, likely due to this dragon coming up here in just a moment. And it's an Earth Dragon now here that is likely to be secured by JYC.
Yeah, already on to Drake. Hecarim and the rest of the players from AMO a little bit too far away. I think they know that they're on drag, but at this point in the game, 13-3, you just can't contest it. You'd rather lose a drag than a few lives and a drag.
Exactly, right? And it's not really a threatening dragon at this point. Yes, it's a little bit scary. They're starting to stack up the dragons, but it's 19 minutes in and they only have 2.
And that Cloud Drake allowing Udyr to push forward very, very quickly. Hecarim having to get the heck on out of there. And a nice ultimate from Oriana landing onto the Twitch, but Twitch getting ultied by Lulu just turns him into an absolute tank, and that tank is able to take down the pony as he goes down there. Flash over the wall from Udyr, able to secure the kill onto Oriana. Zed grabbing one onto Seraphine, Nocturne grabbing one onto Twitch, and finally just chasing down that Lulu and continuing to emit a lot of pressure. The flash over the wall, but now in response, an ultimate trying to get the heck out of there now is Nocturne as he is getting chased down by this Udyr. I don't think he has enough movement speed to do it. That blue smite's going to secure it, and an ace from the team of KYC, but some good fighting from AMO to grab a couple players on their way out.
I didn't realize the Nocturne still has ultimate so late there, using it to snipe that Lulu there. That was pretty fun to watch. But a big shutdown on the Nocturne. I mean, he got the Twitch shutdown there. He got also the Lulu shutdown, I believe, although it wasn't as much gold. I think it was just around 200, but the Twitch was about a 600 gold shutdown. So in theory, this Nocturne is going to come off spawn with a ton of gold, with some real one-shot potential. And that means that if JYC don't play clean, he is a threat. I mean, you saw it there. He just dove the super fed Twitch 1 versus 2, and he took him and the support out. So if he's able to continue finding those picks, just executing that Twitch there, kind of abusing him with that Nocturne ultimate, I think he can really stall out the game here and enable AMO to hold on for a little bit longer, let his teammates get his core items. As I mentioned earlier, the Orianna falling really far behind because of this armor itemization in the early game. So if they're able to get to those key first couple of items, pick up their mythics so that they can output a little bit more damage as a team, there is a shot for them.
Yeah, and if I'm KYC right now, you have to be looking to continue to push. Right now, they're up so much gold into a point in the game where they're still very, very ahead, and the late game scaling doesn't come into effect. And so they need to continue to push this lead, dropping the Rift mid, able to grab another tower. And I think they should look to actually Baron in the next 3 or 4 minutes to continue to grab more towers and objectives, set up for maybe one more Drake, and then really look to end, because you do not want to have this game past 35 minutes with people like Jhin and Nocturne on the opposite team.
Yeah, absolutely. And just the wombo combo of ultimates that AMO has is really scary, right?
Oh, and the ultimate from Zed continuing to style on the entire team, getting ulted out by Seraphine and Wing back, able to grab the kill. And oh my goodness, now Udyr running in, and all the damage coming up from Twitch in the backline. Twitch finally able to pick up that Nocturne. Ooh, almost not exactly as the ultimate coming in from Orianna, almost taking down Twitch. Twitch turning around to get the auto attacks. Udyr doesn't care about tower shots at all, as he's going to go take down that Zed in a few clean kills. 4 players down from the side of AMO, as a lot of players there were low, but just utilizing their utility effective to be able to get out of that one without any deaths.
Yeah, but look at the health bars on their side. This is what I mean. If they were just a little bit more gold on each player, if they just had a little bit more damage, there could be so many dead opponents on the side of JYC. The Twitch dies, the Zed dies, the Udyr dies. It could be a completely different team fight, but instead they're just limping out of here with a sliver of health, happy to get the inhibitor turret, but unable to do more just because everyone is sitting on a collective 1,000 health across 5 teammates, it seems like.
And oh my goodness, that Zed play, he actually ulted out of a Jhin W and then was able to W back to his original ultimate out of a Seraphine ult. Just an absolute micro show going on from this Zed here today.
Yeah, and he has to, right? I mean, if you're going to be playing this assassin character against the wombo combo team fight of your opposition, you have to be making those plays. If you get hit by any piece of the crowd control here on the side of AMO, it's just going to layer up and you are going to be stuck for an eternity and just die. If the Seraphine ult lands, then the Hecarim ultimate's going to land, and the Orianna ult's going to land, and maybe a Jhin W is going to follow up after that. So he has to be making those micro outplays if he's going to be able to get anything done here, and that's why AMO has a comeback chance here, although JYC is really making it tough for them, looking to strangle out their opposition here in the bottom lane.
And now pinging on the side of JYC. Dragon's going to be up in 30 seconds, looking to secure this air Drake as the 3rd Drake, which will turn into the Soul. And Udyr just running down this Orianna. He did not like how she treated him in base, and now he's going to show her exactly what he feels like in the top lane, just chasing her down, doesn't care about any of the CC. And now an ultimate coming in from Nocturne as well as Orianna to try to re-engage onto the Udyr. And look at the attack speed coming out from Nocturne. Now Udyr trying to just run away, and look how fast he is. Instead of running away, he's actually going to run towards the Orianna. Now dodging the Jhin blade. Oh my gosh, the fancy footwork on the Udyr, now going forward, trying to go forward for the Orianna, still taking tower shots. The exhaust doesn't matter at all and continuing to run away. How is this bear still alive?
The gates! I'm watching Trick 2G in this match right here. I mean, look at this. While everyone is chasing this poor little bear just running for his life, the side of JYC is picking up the Dragon. They're picking up the inhibitor tower as Hecarim engages on Kennen.
And now Hecarim going in on Kennen with a little bit of support from Seraphine as well as Jhin. Kennen able to W on out of there, getting that increased movement speed and not putting up any more fight than he needs to after getting that turret. And you're right, that pressure from Udyr in the top lane linked perfectly with the timing. His job there was likely just to stall, but instead gets a lot more than that in terms of utility and map awareness from the side of AMO.
I'm just flabbergasted that he made that happen out of nowhere.
Someone
right?
clipped that. Someone clipped that.
Can you imagine how tilted you would be after watching that just go down? You 5-man collapse on the Udyr and he just runs away without a care in the world.
Not to mention 3 ultimates being used as well, as Zed now re-engages onto the Seraphine. Seraphine getting chunked down really low. Zed able to pick up the kill as that ultimate pops, and kills continuing to pour through as now they look to Baron and likely go to end.
Yeah, and this is a great rotation here out of the side of JYC. You get the pick on the support that enables so much of that team fight pressure, and you just immediately go onto the Baron. You know that AMO is not going to be able to contest. AMO instead grouping in the bot lane here. I like this play, actually. You know you can't contest the Baron. May as well stack up and try and get a little cheese kill on the Kennen, but luckily no one here is playing it very smart and safe, and he is not going to give them that opportunity.
And now for a final reset to push the lanes with those Baron buffs. They've been so good at playing all over the map today, not just ARAMing it down, but really utilizing all 3 lanes as well as those main objectives in the Baron Pit and the Dragon Pit effectively. So looking to continue that macro play with the Baron buff.
And Magi Soul Stealer out of the Udyr here, which is a little bit of a controversial purchase for
I think that's just rude.
Guides.
I think that's just rude.
Yeah, I think the only thing he could do to improve his gameplay at this point is emote after making plays like that 1 versus 5 in the top lane. Just really set them on edge so that your team can get that mental victory. But instead, he's going to look to push into the blue side jungle of AMO.
Support from his team as well as Zed is rotating down, and I think they learned their lesson last time. Let's not try to collapse on this Udyr, because if we throw absolutely everything at him, there's still a good chance that he gets out of there and indeed decides to fall off. Kennen continuing the solo push into the bot lane. A great solo push champ because he can push out lanes very, very quickly, but also has the mobility to get out of there, and at this point can actually 1v1 quite a few players on the team. And now Twitch Flash ulting forward, able to get a lot of damage, able to take down that Seraphine as well as get both other players down to half HP. They have to retreat back to their Nexus, and now Kennen able to land the Sun onto the Hecarim. Hecarim having to ulti out, but that's going to go down to the Twitch as well as they look to end this game right here. KYC up by 20 kills, up by 15k gold. All the bases completely just going in, and now Twitch just standing there auto-attacking, doesn't take enough damage, and at this point getting a lot of damage out. The Orianna ulti actually landing on 4 people at this point doesn't mean much, but you love to see the play, and now Zed just completely diving into base. They don't even care at this point. Nexus turrets falling down, Nocturne ulting onto Twitch and still isn't able to take him down, and a nice flash by Twitch there to get away from the W. Zonya's coming out from Orianna, but it really doesn't matter at this point as the game is nearing the end. And I'm frozen on my screen. I don't know what you see on yours right now.
I think that means the Nexus has indeed exploded because, I mean, look at this game state right here. Twitch lived through it all. Udyr lived through it all. And I think that is going to be our match. So JYC comes out on top. A spectacular performance out of this Udyr played by LulPro Legit Player, as well as the Twitch from Blob Paints. They were just really popping off all across the map. That runaway moment from Udyr was legendary. It's the stuff of nightmares as well. If that happened in my solo queue game, you cannot blame me for AFKing. But that was really something else, and just a really overall fun game to watch. I love seeing these kind of off-meta picks or niche sort of picks in the Nocturne top, in the Twitch bottom lane. It was really fun to watch overall.
Yeah, for sure. And JYC taking that one handily. I don't think there was any point in the game where there was any sort of confusion as to who was in the lead there, really taking a commanding lead. And at every point in the map, I know we're highlighting the Twitch and the Udyr, but also just shout out to